Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures, and I've got a nice base. That's all I got so far. Now, we're going to take a look today at another fun Bestiarum model, and it does have an interesting shaped base, and actually a lot of Bestiarum stuff have some interesting shaped bases. But today we're going to look at the Heart Keeper, not the Heart Breaker. And as tempting as it may be to bust into the lyrics of the Pat Benatar song, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try with all my effort not to. But this is, I don't know why it's called a Heart Keeper. I was going to say Heartbreaker. It is a disturbing mess of stuff. So, yes, I haven't primed it yet, obviously, or put it together, but the main body consists of these two pieces. It's going to be a big arachnid-like gross monstrosity. The real fun is going to come from having to attach all of his legs. You'll notice he is hollowed out, but Bestiarum's really good about having their bigger pieces hollowed out. You can't complain about that. You can see here we have a large assortment of legs. And then in true High Lord Tamburlaine fashion, we've got a whole couple extra arms to hold on to that giant blade. I'm assuming, yeah, this kind of pops in like that. Because why have two when you can have three? And then we've got this nice elaborate cape with a bunch of candles all over it. That'll be fun. I'm assuming it's going to clip on to that crazy ring on his back there. And there's a little slot, it looks like, so it's supposed to sit like that. I am going to assume he's going to end up being fairly tall. And while I know there's some fun stats and junk for the Bestiarum models, they've had a couple of little adventures here and there that they've released, and it looks like I need to file that down so that the body attaches more nicely. Yeah, I got it the right way. He's going to be pretty dang tall. Grabbing our witch hunter friend, wherever he may be. He seems to have van up. Nope, there you are. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll admit it. I am a sucker for large models, especially with 3D printed stuff. Obviously, I know my cleaning job, when you have cheap 99-cent store cleaner fluid, it gets the job done at least, but once we've got him primed, that shouldn't be much of an issue. So, I think the real challenge is going to be trying to figure out where all of the various feet go. There's a couple of obvious spots, but then there's like the smaller legs that I really don't know. I think I'm going to have to go look online. Maybe they go in there. It doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason. There's two little ones, then two smaller ones. They're kind of going all over the place. So, who knows? And then there's also spots on the base where they are supposed to attach. Right here, and right here. And then there's another one right there by the base. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll grab everything here, we'll get it all glued together, at least we're going to try, and we'll get him primed up so I can show you guys how he turns out, and I'll grab a couple other Bestiarum models that I've been working on as well so we can show off some of their stuff and let you guys go ogle their catalog while they're at it. So sit tight. Okay, we got our Heart Keeper all put together here. I'm going to ever so delicately attempt to get it onto the camera. There we go. It is not completely glued together just because, well, I need some access to get this thing painted. So this is a very, very High Lord Tamburlaine model, if we've ever had one on this channel before. Just way too many limbs. Crazy base. I do dig the scenic bases. It's just kind of gross and disgusting, which is a very apt description for a lot of the Bestiarum models, where we can get a closer look at what is supposed to be its face. It is ever so precariously balanced on this base. It took me a while to figure out what goes where, and I think I finally figured it out just by playing around with the legs. I don't think I cleaned the resin on the inside ports, for lack of a better word, for where the legs all connect to the body. There are a bunch of little slots on the base though, and I'm not sure which was the original legs that are attached to it. Maybe, I don't even know. I don't even know. There were a big pile of legs, and I don't actually have the torso glued down. That was one of the parts I kept off just to get in there, and I don't actually have his little mantle thing with all of the candles actually glued on yet either. That's just all blue tacked together, and now he doesn't want to stay together. I like the asymmetrical amount of arms. I had the biggest pain trying to just get these legs to stay attached. You know, there's very tiny contact points. I banged into it a couple times and busted a bunch off. That wasn't fun. Now we're just looking at the bottom part of the torso. I'm going to take the cape part off because it gets a much better balance for the time being. But obviously we will have that included in the end. And in case you're curious just how big this thing is, Bestiarum has put out some quite large, intricate models, and I'm searching through the pile of figures around me here that really need to get put away. And I'm wondering, where is my erstwhile friend? There he is. So, yeah, it's definitely a big one. I don't think it's the biggest creation that we've seen from Bestiarum yet, but it's definitely one of the more intricate ones. And I figured what a perfect excuse at this moment to grab a bunch of the other random stuff of theirs that I've been printing and working on, or just had laying around and never gotten around to it. Speaking of other large Bestiarum models, we've got the Possessed Idol, which is just a crazy looking thing. It started off as a regular, normal looking statue. You can see it on the top there. And then we had the Living Possessed Blood, or whatever it was. And there was a whole cool little RPG module that went along with that thing. I've got quite a few months of Bestiarum stuff to get around to painting. So anyway, that thing eventually gets trapped in the idol, and that's what you end up with. But then it also ended up infecting a bunch of undead models, which were actually quite nice. Just haven't got around to doing anything with them yet. And they are of relatively normal height. But those aren't the fun ones. What's fun is then they also get infected with that crazy living blood and end up just being absolute weirdness. It's like, I saw these and oh boy, yeah, we have to get those printed up. So you can see the blood, the living blood, entering the dead host body here. It's just going every which way. Fun stuff. And I know they've actually had recently a bunch of gladiator style models, and I'm always up for gladiators. If you are ever in the need for a rather large sized Chaos Warrior type model, as I fight with him to stay in one piece here, they had their Lacrimator. I believe it was their Lacrimator. That is a Adrian Smith style Chaos Warrior if I have ever seen one. He's also a multi-part model, but you get the idea here. He's a big dude. I mean, honestly, this guy would make a great Exalted champion if you wanted something to stand out, or a chosen model. And then to accompany our Lacrimator, we have a Centurion, I think was what they called him. No, I know it's hard to see with this. I tried one of these water washable resins. It was okay. Most of the stuff came out alright. It's hard to see it really, but the details I'm sure are there. He was interesting in that he actually has a lot of modular parts. He's supposed to go on a chariot, if you wanted to go that route. A very intricate Death Dancer, which would make a great Demonette. Somehow that is all one piece, and I printed it off correctly. I know it's rather hard to see. What's interesting is they also made a modular version of her, so you don't have to worry about the crazy chains going everywhere. she actually kind of keeps her balance. I do like the fact that these models are starting to get a bit more scaled up. A lot of the early Bestiarum human figures were a little bit on the small side, closer to more traditional, Mantic or old Hammer style scales. New stuff is a lot bigger, more robust, easier to paint. And there are absolutely some very large guys. These sides are lacrimator there. 1 month they had a bunch of almost steampunk post-apocalyptic guys, and this is one of their behemoths. I mean, they would make some great Trader Guard, Ogren, what have you. It was like Junktown or something it was called. Another random one that I'm trying to shove together is the Lanista. I'm impressed that I got that abacus off in one piece. Even larger than the lacrimator. Ready to whip your guys into shape. Of course, Spartacus is a TV show that was held in high regard in my household, having been watched multiple times by my spouse. And when she saw me printing up all this gladiatorial stuff, she's like, "When are you going to do Spartacus?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, we'll just have to take care of that." So, some interesting stuff from Bestiarum, as always. If you haven't had a chance, absolutely, I encourage you to take a look at their catalog online. They have been putting out some stellar models. If you want human-sized stuff like we showed you, if you want big, crazy, monstrous centerpieces like this, I know one of their recent releases that's coming up is like almost a full-scale diorama with giant monsters that can be pulled out and used individually. So there's just a whole lot of fun from them. And I forgot to mention that some of the stuff, like, I think I mentioned it, like our Centurion and our Death Dancer lady, they're all being offered up in Kit Bash kits. So not all of these sets, be aware, if you take a look through their My Mini Factory page, you'll find some of their sets have been released as Kit Bash multi-part modular sets. So if you're into that kind of thing like I am, there is a ton to print there as well. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.